So like, how do you go about, maybe like paralysis analysis of like which sort of direction you want to go to?
Yeah, I mean, so you can only try to make the best decision based on the information that you currently have. Just like we tell people on the sales calls, like you will never know until you actually do it.
I've been going out there now for a couple of years, but like within the first year, her parents were like, "Okay, so when are you getting married?" I was like, "What?" Because her parents got married after like 3 months.
Yeah,
Oh man.
Yeah,
Damn.
it's like different culture over there, right? And they're still together, like 27 years.
nice,
Yeah,
nice.
it's crazy.
So I got married like 9 months after we
Oh,
started
nine
dating.
months.
Yeah,
Nine
That's really
months,
fast as
really?
well.
9 months.
That is
Yeah,
really fast. How did you know?
I didn't.
Yeah.
Again, going back to what I said before, I can only make a decision.
I love that, man. I love that.
Yeah, I mean, I made a
You
decision, the best decision I could based on the information that I currently had at the moment. That's it.
you you truly do live what you preach. So that's amazing. Hey guys, welcome to our sixth episode. This time with Conrad, my fellow Polish boy. Turns out we actually went to well, our high schools were in the same town, so that's exciting. We recently actually learned that together. A little bit from me about Conrad before he obviously gives you guys more detail. He came into this space in 2020. Obviously was had some exposure in 2017, so he's one of the I suppose like old sharks in the space, not necessarily someone new. In 5 months with a guy pretty much he was partnered with, he took him from 10, 15K to 80K in revenue. And then over the course of the next year, of 1 year, right, essentially he took him over pretty much south of a million, right? So big juicy fish, I suppose, in that way. One of the guys you definitely want to look out for. And yeah, Conrad, thanks for hopping on, and excited to hear some more,
My pleasure,
how,
man.
yeah. So help me understand, right? Like, because we spoke a little bit, in the past, like we had our call together. You didn't just jump in, like you already had an accounting degree. You already were set to go like the 9 to 5 route, right? So like, what were the like factors for you to kind of step into this online like remote space?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, so I finished my accounting degree, associate's degree. I
Mhm.
paid like a close to 40K for it, but like right after I finished it, I was offered a job for like a 12 bucks per hour, and it was like a big aha moment for me that um the goals that I had and that I set for myself, I'm not necessarily going to be able to accomplish them by going the regular route.
Mhm.
Just go to the college and scale to the point where you can make maybe, I don't know, 150K per year. Maybe know what I mean. So that
Hmm.
got me looking into different ways of making money. In 2017, I started looking into Amazon FBA. I started looking into trading, copywriting, tried a bunch of different stuff. But I didn't make a dollar online until the March of 2020. Uh,
Hmm.
it was when the COVID hit, and so I got laid off from my job. Uh,
Yeah.
Going back to what I have been saying before, after the college, I got offered a job for like a 12 bucks per hour as an accountant, but I wanted to make as much money as quickly as possible. So that got me into the construction where I spent, a few years of my life. When the COVID hit, um, again, I had to figure out something. So I just went all in the closing and here I am.
um in terms of those goals, right? Like, was it that you just wanted to get there as fast as possible, or did you just not see you ever getting to your goals, like following the accounting degree route?
I always liked being independent in what I do, I think.
Mhm. How do you mean?
And like I wanted to my goals, like my biggest goal was to be able to make money, as much money as I can in my own terms, right? And again, like going to the like regular job, it doesn't really allow it, right? So I tried to start different businesses. Therefore, again, Amazon FBA, trading, all of that. And actually, it's kind of funny because like when I first came to the States and my parents were laughing a little bit at me for that, I told my family that I'm gonna be the kind of like a first millionaire in the family. So this is like the big goal that I'm striving for, and just on my way to get there, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. So as you know it yourself, like what does that million actually allow you to do? Like, are you gonna be, let's say you hit that million, are you gonna be still in this space, or like what's the big goal for you?
When you say in this space, like what exactly?
Well, just like sales, high ticket closing.
Not really. I think the sales is just one of the vehicles that will
Mhm.
allow me to get there, right? Because like once you're actually gonna start making money on your own terms, like I mean, right? Your mind completely shifts like to what is possible.
Yeah.
So when I started working with the guy that we have been speaking about before, he was doing like a 10 to 15K for the few months before we started working together, and actually seeing that journey, like how your life can change in like in a really, really short period of time, right?
Yeah.
Like going from 10 to 15K per month, where you're collecting almost $1 million in one single month, makes you realize that it is possible, right?
Yeah.
There are just stuff that I don't know how more you said it, like in a really, really interesting way. Um, fuck, I forgot how to say it.
It's okay. Maybe you can go back to it. I'm sure
Yeah.
Harmazina has plenty of good things. But like
And
help me understand, right? Like you mentioned the shift from 10 to 10 15K to like 80K. Like, do you think that was the biggest shift for for you as a sales leader then, and for the guy that you were working with? Or like, do you feel fundamentally for him it was just like over time getting to that million?
I think over time, like going to the million, like in a
Mhm.
really, really short period of time, because it took us like 12 months
Yeah.
to cross that $1 million mark. Yeah.
When you guys were like noticing, okay, shit, we're on our way to hit a million a year. How did you feel that?
I mean, me personally, I was just grinding. Like, so I felt tired of it all the time, but I still saw purpose in it. Um, my income skyrocketed like like during that year.
Yeah.
I doubled my income like really in the course of a year. I almost tripled actually, like comparing to like to the construction. I tripled my income in a year. Yeah.
I'd say that was a nice experience. And so I guess Conrad, how did you actually get into closing? Like, what made you pick sales online?
What made me pick sales online?
Yeah.
I got sold on a dream by Dan Lok.
Hmm.
Ah, okay.
Big Dan, Big
Yeah,
Dan.
yeah.
What
Hmm.
was it? Was Dan selling? So Dan must have been one of the original, 10K 90-day guys, was he?
Yeah, I mean, like make money online on your own terms, pick your own schedule, travel like whatever you want, like whenever you want, and just make big bucks. That was basically the dream, right? Back then. So
Hmm.
I was sold on his course like a few months before I actually started closing.
Is
Okay.
there something you're still grateful for from at least what you've learned from him?
So I think so. Like number one thing, he is not teaching anything about sales. Like his whole program is all about the mindset. So I think like some of the biggest mindset shifts that I had personally was actually going through his program at the very, very beginning, that were actually necessary for me to even start believing that there is something more out there. Like if you like really want it, if you know what I mean.
Okay.
Like shifting your own identity
Yeah.
uh,
Is that
from like
why, did he encourage you to move to the States, or did you take
mm,
part in him afterwards?
no, no. Actually, I moved to the States long before actually I bought my first course.
Okay.
So like I moved to the States like 8 years ago. Yeah.
You know, so actually before you popped in, like Sam and I were talking a little bit about you, and I thought you were just like I thought you were overseas still, and I didn't even know that you were in the U.S. So that
Okay.
that blew my mind, man. What um, yeah, I guess what pulled you to like make that decision like 8 months or 8 years ago?
So I came to the States for the last year of the high school. So actually still with my parents. So it was my parents' decision to move to the States.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it wasn't my choice. I honestly didn't like it at the very beginning, like, having all of the friends back home, not speaking English at all, going to the country where only English is spoken, and completely on the other side of the world. It was scary at the very beginning, right? But it turned out great.
Mhm.
Uh, so going back, I'm actually really, really grateful for the opportunity that kind of like my parents gave me.
Yep. Do you feel like that you wouldn't be where you are right now, or do you feel like you'd somehow still find the online if that move never happened?
Say again? I'm sorry.
So, like, if that move never happened, maybe, um, do you feel like you still have figured out something with like going remote?
Honestly, I don't know. It's hard to say.
Yeah.
I always had this kind of like a goal and dream to kind of like to work for myself, right?
Mhm.
So most likely I would figure out something that would allow me to kind of like live on my own terms. But I'm not sure like if it would be closing or like if something else.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Sounds good. Sounds good. Like,
How did
mhm.
like what's on?
No, you're good. You go, Sean.
I was going to say, how did you find the transition from sales to sales manager? Because you're a sales manager now, right?
Yeah.
How did you find the transition?
Like in what way though?
I mean, what's the biggest differences? Because because you go from just worrying about your own calls to all of a sudden,
Mhm.
you're looking at how many people are you a manager to?
So currently I have about 15 closers under me.
Okay, okay. So yeah, how did you find the transition from closer to sales manager?
So like how did it happen? Or
No, what was your overall experience with it?
yeah, you have to shift your focus a little bit because like when you're a closer, let's be honest, guys, we are a little bit selfish. We are
Mhm.
just looking at the commissions
Damn
coming in.
right.
I mean, it's just the way it is, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But when you're transitioning to being like a manager, you have to become a little bit more selfless, honestly, right?
Mm.
Because you have like the whole team that is relying on you, and sometimes you make less than the best closer on the team, and that's perfectly fine. But you know that you as a leader and someone who is in a position where you can actually kind of lead people
Mhm.
makes you feel like I don't like responsible. Like I don't have kids, but like I honestly treat like every single person on my team like kind of like a babies that I can grow and like I don't know
Yes.
how to say this to develop, to become for them to be able to become like the best version of themselves. Um,
Okay. So
And
do
not
you, do you still
much.
take do you still take sales calls at the moment?
I still do, but not the kind of the volume that I have been doing, like being a full-time sales rep.
Okay, nice.
One thing that stuck out to me is when you said, the top closer can make more money than you, right?
Yeah.
So like help me understand like why not just go for like being the top closer and instead of that just go for sales manager role.
Like, how do you mean?
Because like you always had the opportunity to just kind of just be in the closing and do like some of the guys that would are in our network,
Yeah.
but I see that the guys that go for the sales management route, I don't know if it's like ego driven, if it's more like maybe there's more future opportunities if you are like if you can like say, well, I've helped build this team to from X to Z. Like what was it for you? Like instead of just being a closer and just focusing on, like, like you said, being selfish.
Yeah.
Why did you make the transition into, taking care of those babies, helping them develop?
Yeah, I think in this particular company, it happened like naturally, organically, by being the first closer on the team to start building up the team by myself because I had a trust of the CEO. So it happened more like organically. But for me, it is a little bit of like an ego thing, like being able to tell myself that I build and scale the team to 8 figures.
Yeah.
It's something to put on a resume, down the road.
100%. So like for you, are you going to be looking for, like, more opportunities in this space, or are you going to be looking, maybe at helping Fortune 500 companies? Like, where would you ideally envision yourself, given you stay in, sales management and not go for something else that's going to get you to that million?
Well, I mean, I think like for the next season of my life, I'm just gonna start my own business, right? Just utilize the skill set and all the knowledge that I gained over the past 3 years to open up something for myself. Because ultimately, still, although that I have the freedom that I always wanted and desired, I'm still working for someone else, right? Kind of like I'm still under someone else's like wings.
Yeah. And I mean, I was actually going to ask you. You work for an Amazon FBA company, right?
Correct.
Why don't you just start your own Amazon FBA store? Surely you have all the knowledge.
Yeah. Good question. Good question. I think personally that I don't see myself doing this kind of a business. Like there are a lot of different vehicles that can help me get like where I want to be, but I just don't see myself personally aligning with this particular model.
What do you want to do? What type of business do you want to open?
So mostly some to go into the real estate, something with the properties, something where I can, start building up the equity for the long term. I don't know, maybe like education business as well at some point. Still in the phases of figuring it out.
Yeah, Conrad, we're talking a lot about business and stuff.
Yeah.
I see you got some stuff in the background there. What else do you fill your time with now that you have the freedom to a certain degree that you like?
So it's mostly business. I mean, in the background, it's just like Goku and Vegeta. Like I'm from the Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
yeah. So
is that a good way to connect with certain people that you speak with, like, or at least prospects? Do you ever get somebody like say something here or there at the start?
Yeah, I never had anyone actually ask about it. So recently, I just changed the position of my desk. Before, the only thing that you could see is the wallet with the like a quote: "You'll never go broke investing in yourself."
Yeah. Okay.
But no one before asked me about the motivational stuff from the Dragon Ball Z.
Did people, Conrad, ever ask you about the wallet? That's a wallpaper, right?
It's like a wall art, yeah.
Yeah. Like did people have like noticed that, or like do you think like it's subconsciously as like, persuading them to, make the decision to invest in themselves?
Yeah, I think it's more subconsciously, like just like having in the background, like to kind of like subconscious, like just like you said, like subconsciously try to persuade. But personally, I live by those words myself, if you know what I mean. So like I'm not personally, yeah. Personally, I'm not afraid of investing in myself. I truly believe that, investment in yourself is the best kind of the investment that you can make. So if I believe in it, maybe seeing those words behind it, like on a sales call can, helps someone realize that as well.
Yeah. How do you, so Conrad, like, you have a ton of experience now in sales, right? I talk with some people now about how they kind of approach certain sales, what is it, like sales, like interactions or conversations, having been in sales a lot. you know? And so for you, like knowing that you're maybe a prospect or a potential lead for somebody else,
Mm.
how do you
Yeah.
approach those kinds of like those scenarios or situations now?
Honestly, man, I don't do sales calls. That's the number one thing.
Hmm.
Like as a prospect, because I'm always I'm the easiest sell. Like really, like I just like whenever if I'm hopping on a call, I'm just there to freaking pay the invoice. So like I don't have to be like going through the whole process, which is actually kind of funny because like when I originally spoke with Bill, like on the
Yeah,
when
yeah.
the objection box, I was just like, how much is it and like how can I pay? He was still trying to do a little bit of a discovery. I'm like, hey man, just let's just get it going. But yeah, I am the type of the prospect that kind of that I want to be getting on my calls. If you know what I mean. Someone who is decisive and someone who knows like what they want at the end of the day.
Hmm.
Mm.
So, like, do you how do I put this? For you to get to a state like that, is it usually word of mouth that does it, or is it just like enough marketing?
Both, I would say.
Okay.
So if the marketing is good, if the testimonials are kind of something that I'm looking for, and if I truly believe that someone sells the product that can solve my problem, I just buy it. That's it. Like so
What?
the way I personally make a decisions, like in terms of like investing in myself, I'm like, if the course or the program that I buy can kind of like increase my top line results, but at least like 5%, that's good enough for me. I'm not expecting to get everything, and kind of like I don't expect to get like everything that I want, kind of like from like one program. I know that sometimes I have to buy a few different stuff and just piece everything together myself.
Hmm.
What have you invested in? What programs have you bought?
Yeah, so real estate, business coaching, marketing coaching, sales, of course. I've been in a bunch of different sales trainings before. Before Bill, it was NEPQ, Jeremy Miner stuff, Cole Gordon, Dan Luck. Bought a few different courses, like from like a smaller guys, Michael Oliver. Again, I think I don't remember all the courses that I bought, honestly.
There's a lot.
Too many.
Yeah. According to my wife, yeah.
So Conrad, help me understand, right? Like because you said you are the ideal prospect for like you wish you had more people just like yourself, decisive, know what they want.
Yeah.
But like I'm sure you haven't been that way all the time, right? Like there must have been like a shift for you to be, actually know, okay, I know what I'm going for, right? Like do you know when that shift happened or?
Good question. And it's really hard for me to pinpoint that particular shift.
Well, you would say there was a point where, that wasn't the case. Like you weren't, in that position where I know what I'm going for. I know that I need to put in the work. I know that I'm not gonna get, everything given to me, handed to me on a silver plate. I still have
Yeah.
to put in the work, right?
Yeah. So like the end goal was always the same, right? The thing that was changing is the vehicles they have been trying to use to get there.
Yeah. But with those vehicles, right? Like this is the thing, like even like what me and Sean practice, and this is personally is a sentence I got from him is like anytime I hear someone say like they tried so many things or maybe they've been burnt in the past or they haven't necessarily got to where they want to, it's like why did you not stop, right? Like why? Because most of the people do actually stop after one course. They say, oh, it's all scam, like you cannot leave remotely, like you cannot have your own business, right? So
Yeah.
like for you it's like what actually had you going, because you got sold on the dream with Dan Lok.
Yeah.
Why
Yeah.
not just stop?
So look, man. So a lot of times people try one thing, they fail, and they just don't try again, right? For me personally, I never cared too much about the it may kind of actually sound a little bit weird, but I never cared too much about the money itself, right? And like when I had barely any, like I was willing to risk everything that I had to at least try to get everything that I want. Yeah.
Would you say it was because the goal was so strong and you really badly wanted to get to that outcome, or like what actually happened? Because as you probably know this yourself, that's a very rare instance, right? Like where people, they just risk it all in order to get possibly get like with a little percent chance of succeeding, actually go ahead and do that.
So like what exactly is the question?
So the question would be like, why, like was the goal like so strong that you just kept going and you went ahead for all the risk and all that stuff? Like was it the goal was so
Honestly, man, I don't
strong?
know like if the goal was to like so strong, but my wife calls it like I'm just so stubborn, honestly. Yeah.
Parte de agosho.
Yeah, like, yeah, you can say
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, you can say that for sure. Okay, so like moving on, right? Like in terms of the real estate, in terms of sales management, doing something yourself. I'm sure like maybe you don't even have the answer for it yet, but like how would you even go about using all of the experience that you have? Because let's face it, like it's a lot of experience and it's a great portfolio of what you've already done. Like how, like this is something I struggle with personally. I have I done the real estate stuff. I'm here in sales as well, but I don't know which sort of direction to pick to get the best, like sort of maybe not the best result, but like to make sure I'm not losing my time, because your time is super valuable now, and as you know it yourself, right?
Yeah.
So like how do you go about maybe like paralysis analysis of like which sort of direction you want to go to?
Yeah, I mean, so you can only try to make the best decision based on the information that you currently have.
Yeah.
Right. So, and just like we tell people on the sales calls, like you will never know until you actually do it.
Yeah.
Right. So going forward, I think I can only kind of try to choose the vehicle that has the biggest potential upside.
Mhm.
And that's basically and just, aim and shoot and see like what's gonna happen. And if not, just readjust and try again.
Okay. I see why you were able to get to that, help that guy get to 1 million.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the thing is like the things will be always breaking, like especially like if you are doing something on like that kind of like I would say, I don't know, level,
Mhm.
this stuff will be breaking all the time. There's always gonna be a new fire to put off, right? Uh and actually I think like by seeing how many stuff is there to how many stuff is breaking like currently, you can actually make yourself realize that like how far you are, right? Because if you're not doing anything, nothing is gonna break.
Precisely.
Mhm.
I
So
I
like,
love that. You know why? It's because like the more success you get, you're just gonna have different problems. Like
Yeah.
there's always gonna be more problems as time goes on, and that's what you should want. When you get more of one, there's just a natural balance of another coming along. So um it's not a it when people are looking to have more, it's also, are you willing to bear with this as well, going in that direction? It's like, okay, these are your problems right now. Do you want those to keep being your problems, or do you want to have new problems? And if new problems means this level of success, is that going to be worth it for you? So that's something that I realized maybe a couple weeks ago. It's kind of stuck with me a little bit, but it's so true. I'm getting like I'm reaching new barriers, and I'm realizing I'm gonna have more issues, but I realize that that's just part of the game. Like, if you want to get that much further, you have to be willing to take more problems and deal with
There's
them.
always something.
Yeah,
Always.
there always is. Yeah. So
So
What
knowing
does
that
your
this,
what does your wife do, Conrad?
She works in accounting actually, like
Ah,
it's
okay.
payrolls and like bookkeeping for the companies.
She hasn't been interested to work remotely from your success.
She's still looking for her vehicle. Her mindset is a little bit different. I'm just trying to, support her like however I can.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But we also have like common goals that we are aiming for, like in terms of the real estate, for example.
Yeah, I get you. What's the goal with real estate? Obviously get to that million. I mean, how when do you think you'll reach the million, or when are you hoping to reach it? Do you have an end destination?
I mean, there's never end destination really, right? So I think like this is like the first milestone I would say that we are aiming for. And once we're just gonna, accomplish that milestone, there's gonna be another goal. That's it. But I genuinely like feel I don't want to be jinxing anything actually, but we can get there like in the next 5 years, like on the trajectory that we are currently, like for the next 5 years, just with the real estate.
Oh, nice, nice.
Um,
Not too far away. How old are you, by the way?
27, just turned 27.
Ah, okay. Happy birthday.
Yeah, yeah.
Happy
Thank you,
birthday, man.
thank you.
And so yeah, not too far away. What was that, like 31? That wouldn't be too bad. Millionaire by like 31, 32, huh? First millionaire in the family.
Yeah, yeah.
What made that be the goal for you? First millionaire in the family. Because like that kind of was a goal for me as well. When I was growing up, I wanted to be a millionaire because my family, I guess I wasn't that wealthy, but my dad bet me to it. So he's also in property, and so I guess kind of curious for you, what made the goal of being a millionaire that goal?
Yeah, good question. I mean, it's hard to say, but I was always considered like a black sheep of the family.
Hmm.
I would say.
I think probably each and single one of us can relate to that. At least I can. So.
Yeah, yeah. So at some point, just the black sheep has to become the goat. That's it.
So, would you say you're the goat now of your family? Have you turned into the goat?
Not that I feel like one. Uh,
No.
um,
And one thing I wanted to touch on is like all of that work that you're gonna have to do, and every single one of us has to do, and the work that you have done, you know, putting those fires out, right?
yeah,
Obviously, there's a lot of stress involved on a daily basis, right?
yeah,
How do you personally deal with that stress? Because managing even yourself is can be a challenge in itself, right? Managing five extra people all the way up to 15, there's different emotions, there's different, everyone has a sort of different personality. Some people will feel amazing, depending how you approach them. Some people will just feel hurt, right? How do you manage with like, let me maybe not sidetrack now, like how do you manage the stress? Like do you do something on like a daily basis to lower the stress, or how do you cope with it?
yeah, yeah. So number one thing, I stopped kind of listening to my emotions. I'm just like completely disregarding them. In terms of the stress, this is something that we have been speaking about before, and just like Sam said, like there's always going to be some problems, right? So
100%.
just the problems and the kind of the stress that I have right now beats having the stress of being broke, for example, right? Or just it's a kind of a different type of the stress. I mean, just to deal with it, I mean, working out consistently, just trying to balance mind anybody, and honestly, just willing to put yourself in a discomfort. Like I'm good with being uncomfortable, right? With the uncomfort comes progress, right?
Do you think, Conrad, do you think like you being put in that position where you were taken from your last year of high school and taken to a whole another country, like do you think that helped you about, I mean, you can obviously answer that yes or no, but like you think that had an impact on, creating that sort of resilience?
Maybe,
Yeah.
maybe. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a hard question to answer, right? I am not trying to like analyze my past too much,
Yeah.
but ultimately, everything that I went through put me in a position where I'm in today, right?
Yeah.
So being able to kind of push myself through the discomfort then maybe actually helps me to push the discomfort right now, the kind of the resilience that I did develop then. I don't know, maybe. But recently I came across like a good quote that I mean, ultimately we as a human beings, we always are aiming for the comfort, right?
Yeah.
But the quest for comfort always usually holds back the most from the discomfort to get there. And this quote kind of stuck with me. I'm just trying to live by those like words that I'm gonna be willing to put myself in as many uncomfortable positions as possible, because that I know that at the end of it, uh, like a like the end goal waits. It makes sense.
Yeah, it does. It does. So like, let's say there's someone in a similar position to what you've been in, right? Let's say with downlock, right? Like, I'm not saying this was you, but let's say they're about to give up, right? They're about to, never see the fruits of their labors, and they're about to just kind of go back to their life, right? Like, they still have the dream, but they just don't feel like it's ever possible to get to it. What would you, I want to say, like, because advice can be a little bit cheesy as a saying, but like, I guess, yeah, like, what would your advice be to someone in that position where, again, they kind of feel stuck, they feel like, they were sold on a dream,
Yeah.
and they either, yeah.
Like I don't have like any advice, but whether you think that you can or whether you think that you cannot, in both of those cases, you're right, right? So I think like what I'm grateful for, at least for the download stuff, it is this mindset part of the journey, I would say. Because at the end of the day, everything starts with the mindset, right? Everything starts in the mind. So just have to push, right? If it's really important for you, like you're just gonna find a way to do it.
Hey, that, boys, it's true. No, it's definitely been true, like, for me, because for me, there's no way out. It's like I either have to do this, like, no matter the discomfort. And I'm sure, like, for pretty much every single one of us here, right? And I guess, like, that's what attracted us, and like, because me, Sam, and Sean, we've known each other even before the box. We've been
Okay.
with a program that, I think it's fair to say that right now, out of the very first few people, like, we're still in the game. We haven't really given up on on making this a reality. And this isn't to say, anything bad about the guys that have started it, but we've seen a lot of people coming in with like huge motivation, right? Like, putting those, like, literally 16, 17-hour days. But I feel like at the end of the day, it's just like that consistency, and like, once times get super hard, like, are you gonna pull back and go back to the comfort, like you said? Are you actually gonna face that discomfort and get to a better position where you do end up living in that comfortable position?
Yeah, I mean, here's
Well,
the thing. Time is gonna pass anyway, right?
Yeah.
yeah, on that though, because Sam, we all came through, the same program. So are you going to spend, you can go back to the comfort, but I mean, if you're spending 16, 17 hours every day doing the wrong thing, you're not going to get any to your goal, right? Any closer to your goal.
Yeah.
Because ultimately, I was in a position where I was basically doing what I was told to do, and it wasn't getting me anywhere. But ultimately, like what Conrad said, you don't have like it's that resilience and actually sticking true. Because like I was down to my last €1,400 and invested €1,200 of it
Yeah.
because I knew I didn't want to go back to working a 9 to 5, getting two trains to work, miserable life. And I guess ultimately some people aren't actually, built for
Mhm.
that resilience in that life, because it takes a lot, right, to not give up on your dreams. especially after you try a couple of things and they don't work out.
Yeah, and so you see, like, so like what I mentioned before, like you personally have been willing to risk like everything you had as well,
Mhm.
right? To at least try
Yeah,
to get like
yeah,
everything you wanted, right? Because you didn't have any guarantees in place to be able to for you to spend that last $1,200 or like whatever. You just did it
hmm hmm
because
yeah.
of
I'm
belief.
still no, yeah. I just moved country. I moved from Ireland to Amsterdam and just moved over like 2,000 euros, got an apartment, and then my last like I had 1,400 euros, invested 1,200 into family, into Bill's group, and then
Yeah,
my closing rate went from like 4%, 5% to like 40 something in like 4 weeks. But ultimately, it still took a lot of like what's the word? There was a lot of fear, right? Because a lot of what if it didn't work, but there was also a lot of certainty and confidence in myself that you have to make it work. It's
Mm.
because look, it's trying to make it work is still better than going to a job that you hate. Because ultimately, when you're dying, when you're on your deathbed, I think about this quite often. Is you don't want to remember the things that you didn't do, right? Oh, I could have started the business online, but I didn't. I settled for a salary. Or I could have done this, but I didn't because I settled for, something else. Most people don't necessarily have the courage, like I guess all of us on the call, to actually go all in on yourself and actually commit and back yourself. Because it does take balls when you have no money, you're not making money, and the bills are due, and your wife or your girlfriend is in your ear and she's shouting at you. And, there's no food in the fridge, and you look at your bank account, you've got like 20 euros, and you're like, fuck, how do I make this work?
yeah. Yeah, so here's the thing, like at the deathbed, people don't regret the things that they did. It didn't work out, but the things they
Hmm
always wanted to do, but they didn't have the guts to do it, to try it.
Yeah, yeah, for sure, right? And you don't want to live a life like that.
Yeah.
Where do you live in the US now, by the way?
Florida, Tampa, Florida.
Ah, Florida. It's a big change from Poland. Is your girlfriend Polish? Is your wife Polish? Sorry.
Yeah, so that's actually a funny story because my wife is from the same city in Poland.
Whoa.
Ah, okay.
Uh,
Well, did you meet her in the US or did she come over with you?
so we met in Poland. Uh, we have went for like maybe 3 days when I was on a vacation in
Hmm
Poland. Like it was already after I moved to the States. I went to the vacation
Okay.
for like 2 months, and we went like a 3 days, and then I came back to the States. Um, and I didn't go back to Poland for the 3 years. After 3 years, I went back for like a 6 months. We started dating again. And and then when I came back, she followed, and here we are.
Oh, nice. A true
Yeah,
love story.
yeah.
True love story. Nice, man. Any plans for any children soon?
Not anytime soon. Maybe a pet.
No. You're
Yeah,
you're 27, Conrad.
yeah,
Middle Eastern Europeans, they usually have children very early.
yeah. I mean, so most of the people in Poland by my age already have at least one. So
Yeah, I
yeah,
know. I'm going out with a Ukrainian lady, and her parents are like, when are you having kids? When are you getting married? Every time I see them, it's like kids, kids, kids. Because I'm the
hey,
same age as Conrad.
and you just met her, right?
No, yeah, I literally, I've been going out there now for a couple of years, but like within the first year, her parents were like, "Okay, so when are you getting married?" I was like, "What?" Because her parents got married after like 3 months.
Yeah,
Oh, man.
Yeah,
Damn.
it's like different culture over there, right? And they're still together, like 27 years.
nice,
Yeah,
nice.
it's crazy.
So I got married like 9 months after we
Oh,
started
nine
dating.
months.
Yeah,
Nine
That's really
months,
fast as
really?
well.
9 months.
That is
Yeah,
really fast. How did you know?
I didn't.
Yeah.
Again, going back to what I said before, I can only make a decision based.
I love that, man. I love that.
Yeah, I mean, I made a
You-
decision, the best decision I could based on the information that I currently had at the moment. That's it.
You truly do live what you preach. So that's amazing, man. So like for you, like the kids, is it just like right now, like you don't even think about it, or is it just like to get like, you know, that I suppose like financial freedom stage of your life?
Good question. I mean, so I think growing up, like personally, I wasn't raised by my parents. I was raised by grandmas, aunties, because the parents were always here in the United States. I was growing up in Poland. So I just want to get to the point of my life where I can, like, when I'm gonna have a kid, I want to be able to kind of be there
Mm.
for him, for her, for it. Like,
Great. How many hours do you work a day now? Surely you'd have time if you had a child now, no?
yeah, I could, but I mean, as a manager, I work like from 7 a.m. to, I don't know, 9, 10 p.m. Like
Really?
Whoa.
always doing, yeah, always doing something. So like if not on the calls, you have to be there for the team, like whatever, And this is actually something that I'm working on personally because I think I just take care of too much stuff in the company,
Mm,
and I should be uh just kind of be able to separate like just these things that I'm sure should be really responsible for, you know, from the things that I'm doing, like also like taking care of the fulfillment, the client success, and all of that. Which is not good, for my time, for my,
yeah,
I would
Mm.
say,
definitely not.
relationship. But
Definitely not.
yeah, this is still something that I'm working on because definitely too much time is being spent on the things that are not moving the needle forward in terms of the revenue itself.
Mm, I get you. I get you. It's crazy, right? You get into the online space because you want to have the freedom and work, make more money and work less hours, but you end up working more hours, and then at the start you make like no money. It's
Yeah,
crazy how it
yeah,
works.
it is weird, but it's also, interesting. Again, like I think that a lot of stuff that I'm doing right now, it's also gonna be really, really useful, like whenever the time is gonna come for me to actually open up my own thing. So it's good to learn, I would say. It's good to kind of see how things work, not only from the sales manager's perspective, if it makes sense,
Okay.
Mm,
Right.
but
get you.
also
I
from
get
the
you.
from the
So
different departments.
I get you. And do you have any? Because look, I mean, you've taken that company from like 10K up to pretty much a million. Do you have like any percentage or revenue of the company, or are you just solely just like sales manager?
So like I don't have any equity right now.
Ah, okay. So you've no equity. Ah, okay, I got you. Well, at least you know for next time, right? Get equity in the company.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
Conrad, like for you, like what are some of the things, like not on the 1 million side, like some of your intermediate goals, I suppose, not intermediate goals, um, like not really that far into the future goals that you're working on. Like what are you working on right now?
Like more immediate goals.
Immediate, yeah, immediate.
Okay,
That's what I was
yeah,
looking for.
yeah. So I think just building my personal brand and actually like make myself a little bit more known in this space.
I'm guessing this is the first step, huh?
Yeah, yeah, for sure,
Yeah.
for sure.
Oh yeah.
No, I mean, I was really, really inspired by the story of your last guest, Christian.
Oh,
Christian.
Christian.
Yeah, yeah. So I really, really admire what he does. Like how he was able to kind of connect with himself with the big names in the space, and kind of want to kind of replicate it uh, in some of the
So
uh,
what's your sorry, what's your plan on like doing that?
like plan.
Yeah, like what are you
Yeah.
doing on like a day-to-day basis?
I mean, so like just connecting with people, really connecting with people, posting the content, following the principles that he teaches. Yeah, that's basically it.
And like, what is in terms of being known in this space? Like, what's the sort of outcome you want to see yourself? Like, be the all around go to guy. Like, you wanna meet or network with specific people. Like, what is it for you?
Yeah, I mean, so they say your network is your net worth, right? So over the past 3 years, I've been focusing too much on like spending too much time, I would say, on only one company, like in this space where there's much more people, much more companies that could help me out to grow even further and or
So,
quick.
so basically, the goal is to just like network within like the owners of that company, or like.
Honestly, even I don't know like what's the goal. I'm just enjoying the journey.
Okay, fair enough.
Like with in that sense.
Gotcha. Fair enough. Well, Conrad, it's been a pleasure. Anything you want to kind of finish up with? Maybe in terms of like, I don't know, maybe advice to someone in our position where we're not quite there yet. We're still like grinding. We're still trying to make a name for ourselves. Like, what would your piece of advice? Like, I guess.
I mean, so like it depends really, like depends on like what you are looking to get out of the space, right? Because like with the different goals that you guys have, there will be coming like a different advice,
Yeah.
right? So you have to specify like what kind of that advice you want to get.
I think the advice what you're getting at is make sure you have clear goals and know what you're actually looking to get.
Yeah. I think that's a really good I think you just inadvertently gave us advice right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Conrad, been a pleasure. Really awesome that you decided to hop in and share some of the golden nuggets. For anyone listening, put your comments down with the key takeaway. Really appreciate it, and we'll see and include one of those golden nuggets in the next episode for sure.
Awesome. Appreciate you guys.
Awesome. See you later,
Until
guys.
the next time.
Catch
Bye-bye.
out.